I cannot believe this is the 9th Chicago Bears mock draft that I have done throughout this season, but that's where we're at. Welcome into Bears Now by Chat Sports. My name is Harrison Graham. Another week, another Bears mock draft, and I like to spice things up. I like to mix it up, so let's have some fun. A double trade down today from the number 1 pick. Here's trade number 1. 2 first-round picks from New England, including the number 4 pick this year, plus their 2025 first-round pick. Also, 2 second-round picks, number 36 overall, their second-round pick next year. New England jumps up from 4-1. Shout out to Bailey Zappi from dropping the Patriots down a couple of draft slots, which could force them to trade up if they want to get their quarterback. So now I'm sitting at 4. I got 36. I got a first and a second next year as well. I'm trading down again. And the reason I'm trading down again is both Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors were unavailable. And trading down from 1, I'm not going quarterback. The first 4 picks for Caleb Williams, and then Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors. And then at 4, I could have gone Drake Maye, but I opted to trade down again. So I get 7, 39, and 144 from the Tennessee Titans. Double trade down, so I've got all kinds of picks now. I got a couple first, couple seconds, extra first and second next year, picked up a 5th. Let's have a day. We're going to get into my picks here in just a second, but speaking of the number 1 pick, be honest with me. What would you do? Would you draft a quarterback or would you trade down? You could also type MHJ if you just draft Marvin Harrison. That's fine as well. D for draft a quarterback, T for trade down. Get your votes in down in the comment section below. All right, so with the number 7 overall pick, I'm going tight end Brock Bowers out of Georgia. I think at 4, Drake Maye went, and then 5 and 6, I think might have been both tackles. I think both Joe Alt and Olu Fashanu went. So I went Bowers here with the number 7 overall pick. He's obviously had a hell of a career at Georgia. You arguably could have the best tight end duo with him and Cole Kmet. You're seeing more offenses running 2 tight end sets. And Kmet's had to play just a ton of snaps this year because he's played both tight end positions in this Bears offense because Robert Tunyon's just been a disaster. And Mercedes Lewis is a good tight end 3, but he's got to play limited snaps at his age. And the bottom line is you just need more weapons offensively. You've got DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. That's really it, though. Decent running backs, but you need guys that can make plays with the football, and Bowers can do that. He's also a very good blocker as well, or at least an adequate blocker, so I go with him. And I'm going to double dip here on offense. I'm going to go Rome Odunze, the wide receiver out of Washington. Again, both MHJ and Neighbors were gone, but I get Odunze coming in there. He's got good size, 6'3", 210. He's good after the catch. He's explosive. He's put up 2 monster seasons the last couple of years playing at Washington with Michael Penix Jr. I love that he created even more big plays this year despite having more catches, almost a 1,500-yard season. He probably will surpass that considering he has at least 1 more game to play, maybe 2 if Washington makes the national championship game. And you get Bowers and Odunze here, some kind of combination there to go with DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. That's a pretty damn good quartet there of weapons. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, your top 2 receivers. Cole Kmet, Brock Bowers, your top 2 tight ends. 4 legitimate weapons from day 1 in 2024, unless one of Bowers or Odunze busts, which would surprise me, regardless of who your quarterback is. If you go Fields or if you take a quarterback a little bit later and start him, that's certainly very appealing. Obviously, the big decision will come at quarterback, what they do with Justin Fields. But in this mock, I decided to spice things up, trade down twice, get extra capital, and still add 2 premier offensive players. Prize Picks, our sponsor here on today's Chicago Bears mock draft. There are Bears games left this season. If you want to spice things up in those games, get going with Prize Picks. You can make 2 to 6 player entries on any sport, any game, different stat projections, passing yards, receiving yards, rushing yards, touchdowns, fantasy stats. All you do is select more or less on any of those projections, pair it with at least 1 other player, up to 6, and then see if you connect. And if you do, you can make a lot of money. Just if I hit on these 2, DJ Moore on the receiving yards, less on the Geno Smith passing yards, I get 3 times my entry. $20 I put in on this one, so I would win 60 if I connect. Get started with Prize Picks today, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS as well. Sometimes they have like duo player pairings where you get like an NFL and NBA player on one entry and you get a second one as well. Kind of spices things up. It's a whole lot of fun. Prize Picks, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Get extra money when you sign up with code CLNS. They'll match your deposit match up to $100. Okay. Michael Penix Jr., who in a lot of mocks is going late first, early second. My gut tells me he's going to go first rounder, but he could fall to the second. He's a little bit older. He has an injury history, although he's been healthy in the entire last 2 years, which is a positive development for him as well. You look at his career stats, and his last 2 years, the completion percentage has gone up. He's been a 65+% guy, but he's played a lot of football, which I like. 47 career games, 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. He's mobile enough, like he's not going to scramble a lot, but he can scramble for an occasional first down or run one in the red zone every once in a while as well. And look, I do think there is an interesting scenario that could come to fruition where if you decide to keep Justin Fields, where A, you want to keep evaluating him, or B, you're just not sold on Caleb Williams or Drake Maye, where you kind of do what the Eagles did a few years ago, where they liked Carson Wentz a lot, but injuries were starting to pile up, and they liked Jalen Hurts, so they took him in the second round. I kind of like the idea, if you do keep Justin Fields, of still drafting a quarterback. Take one on day 2, whether it's Michael Penix. I don't love JJ McCarthy and Bo Nix, but maybe you snatch one of those guys if you want to. A, for potential insurance if Fields doesn't keep improving, or B, as a legitimate guy you think is a starter that if Fields really doesn't take off, you don't pay him this offseason, for example, then that quarterback could start in 2025. It gives you more flexibility. It allows you to keep Fields for another year, let him continue to evaluate him, but it also gives you a guy that has starting potential, which I absolutely do think Michael Penix does. Oh, and by the way, he played with Odunze, so that combination is pretty appealing as well. Subscribe to the channel. Not only Chicago Bears now, hit that sub button here, but also our NFL Draft channel. This video is also being posted over there, so if you're watching there, hit that sub button. If you're watching on our Bears channel, I will have the NFL Draft channel linked in the comments and in the description, so if you want more NFL Draft coverage, mostly from Tom Downey, but from others as well, we're putting up several videos per week over there. Subscribe to Bears Now. Subscribe to our NFL Draft channel. Help us grow on both of those outlets. Okay, mostly offense in this mock draft. I'm trying to fix the offense here. Let's go defense, though. Tyler Nubin, the safety out of Minnesota. A lot of you guys watching in Big Ten country should be familiar with him. Really good size, 6'2", 6'3", over 200 pounds, but is a better coverage safety than in the box, which I really like because Eddie Jackson is very possibly going to be cut because of his contract. Now, maybe he agrees to some sort of pay cut if he wants to stay in Chicago, and if he agrees to a pay cut, I'd be open to keeping him because I think Eddie Jackson can still play. I think the last month and a half, he's kind of found his game again, getting back from that foot injury. But he's not peak Eddie Jackson anymore. His cap hit's pretty big, so I think he has to, at minimum, take a pay cut to stay here. Tyler Nubin, productive player. He can play that deep safety position, had 5 picks this past season, 4 breakups, so he can do a little bit of everything, and he's a willing tackler. Pair him with Jaquan Brisker. I think that's an intriguing young pairing. This might be the steal of this mock draft. I think Xavier Worthy's going round 2, but does have some frame concerns. He's very thin. He doesn't really project as a number 1 type of receiver, but Xavier Worthy, the receiver out of Texas, has unbelievable speed. He would be a steal in the 3rd round. Now, I don't think he's going to be a Tyreek Hill type of player. I don't think he's that dynamic. I don't think he can run the full route tree where Tyreek Hill can, but he's put up some pretty damn good numbers in 3 seasons at Texas. He's been just under 1,000 yards in all 3 seasons. He's been very consistent. I think, in a perfect world, he becomes, peak Marquise Brown, the best Marquise Brown has been in the NFL, where he's, a very, very good number 2, takes the top off the defense, and really can open up other things because you have to account for him and play a safety over the top. He's that type of guy. He can be a punt returner for you as well, which I like Trent Taylor, but like it would be nice to have an explosive guy back there, which they wanted with Velus Jones, but he can't catch the goddamn football. So a guy like Xavier Worthy could fill that role as well. You get him in the third round. He's your number 3 next to DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. Whew, sign me up for that. What is the Bears' biggest roster need? Is it quarterback? Is it center? Is it edge? Is it wide receiver? Let me know. I think there's a lot of areas the Bears could go early on in these drafts, but I think just adding offensive talent is the top need for me. Go a little quicker on these day 3 picks. Guess what? Cedric Van Pran. It's like clockwork here. If he's sitting there 3rd, 4th round, I'm taking him. PFF, he's checked out, graded well. Depending on if you run a similar style offense, like a Shanahan type of offense, I think he fits that mold of the body build of offensive lineman that Ryan Poles likes. He's got good athleticism, so I would certainly like to plug and play him there at center. Muhammad Kamara, we talked about him in a couple of our earlier mock drafts. Edge out of Colorado State. This guy put up some unbelievable numbers this year. 17 tackles for loss, 13 sacks. I watched Colorado State earlier this year, and look, as the season went on, we realized Colorado's offensive line was a joke, but he literally controlled the game. They could not block him. He was after Shedeur Sanders all night. He almost single-handedly won that game for Colorado State. Colorado had this crazy comeback, but he was sensational in that game on a very big stage and in front of a huge audience. I think he's a guy who, as a rookie, can be a rotation pass rusher and be productive. Donovan Jackson, offensive guard out of Ohio State. I haven't loved how Nate Davis has played recently. I think he's going to be your starting right guard next year, but I think adding a backup guard could make sense because I think Cody Whitehair is going to be gone. I like Ja'Tyre Carter, but you probably need another guy in there, especially, too, with Tevin Jenkins' injury history. You're going to need 2 backup guards, so Carter can be one of them. I think a guy like Donovan Jackson on day 3, who's played pretty well for Ohio State, could be another guy. Antoine Powell-Ryland, the defensive lineman out of Virginia Tech. He's kind of an edge, 3-tech hybrid. Had good SAT production this year, so he's an intriguing name in the 5th round. How about Keith Randolph Jr.? I mean, look at that freaking photo. He looks like he's going to murder your quarterback. Good size, gives you some defensive tackle depth. You could kind of redshirt him as a rookie. You wouldn't need him to play a ton. And then just kind of a fun pick in the 7th round. I do think adding a running back at some point in free agency or in the draft is going to happen. Rasheem Ali, very productive at Marshall. I think he had like 1,200 yards or something this year, so keep an eye on him as well. Grade today's Bears mock draft: A, B, C, D, or F. The double trade down, fix the offense mock draft. That was kind of the theme of this one. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know how you would grade this mock draft. And subscribe to the channel. Yep, this is Mock Draft 9.0. You know what that means. 10.0 is on deck. We'll have more draft videos coming out. Trade ideas, draft targets, mock drafts. We're covering it all. Hit that sub button. Don't miss a video here on Chicago Bears Now.